Hello, I'm Dr. Troy Munson, and I don't know if you've ever taken a product from the store and wondered, is this doing anything for me? So I have a client, and she said that she had purchased Akinesia, and she lives real close. I said, would you go get it? She's like, sure. So she goes and gets her Akinesia, brings it back. I said, may I ask how much it cost? $30, she said. I said, wow, $30? 100 capsules? This could be great. So we grabbed her Akinesia, her and I both. We grabbed a capsule and we opened the capsule up and we dumped it in our mouth. And if you've ever done that with a loose herb, it doesn't necessarily taste that good. In fact, it tasted like a burnt flower. And I said, so does it say on the bottle what parts of the Akinesia that is in this pill? While we're sitting here chewing on this Akinesia. And she said, yeah, it says the flower or the aerial parts. I said, good to know. Aerial parts are the flowers, the stems, the leaves, and the only thing active, really active about Echinacea is the root. So anybody who knew anything would know, as they looked at that product and turned around and said it was aerial parts, would have rejected it immediately. And so here we are chewing on this for a couple minutes, maybe 3 minutes, and finally I just swallow it. And we're chatting for just a minute or two, and I said, I can almost, maybe almost, just the barest little amount, feel something tingling on the back of my tongue. But I can't honestly verify it because it's so tiny, it might just be my imagination. And so I said, here is real Echinacea, the root. And in her particular product, it was the flowering parts, the purpura. And the reason that they use the flowering parts, the purpura, Echinacea purpura, is it's really easy to grow. It has one growing season, and its root is about 6 inches. It's not that it's a bad root, but the plant will grow one growing every season. Where Augustifolia, which is it's a more potent form of Echinacea, its root is 3 feet long at least, and it's a 2 to 3 year growing cycle, so it's slower. So they don't like to use that because, well, it just doesn't make them that much money. So they use purpura. Well, the product that I have has both purpura and Augustifolia. And so I said, now, I'm going to suck on this tablet first. This is not a capsule, this is a tablet. And I said, I'm concerned because Echinacea, the first time I ever did it, I knew nothing about Echinacea. It was the liquid form of this particular company. And when I did the liquid, you're supposed to mix with water because it really will mess you up big time. I didn't know that. So I shot back 5 mils, and the gal that had poured it looked at me kind of funny. I didn't think anything about it then, but I went back to my seat because we were at a seminar, and I'm sure she was looking at the back of my head like, that's the toughest dude I've ever seen. And I say that because at about 15 seconds, I started wondering about the choice and decision I had just made. I began to try to swallow, and it wasn't working well. And my tongue was going completely numb. And my throat was now going completely numb. And I'm looking around as the speaker's starting. I don't remember a word they said because I pretty much thought I was going to die. My throat was closing up. I thought I was going to stop breathing. And I looked around, I'm thinking, at least there's a bunch of doctors here. Hopefully they could keep me going until whatever is happening to me passes. And so I'm controlling the anxiety inside my body and wondering if I'm going to live through about 15 minutes of trying to swallow, and just like suffering. It finally starts to let up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, who would do this? You could never do this with a patient. And then they start talking about some of the herbs, and I said, hey, by the way, Echinacea, you don't want to do straight because it'll really mess you up. And I'm like, check. So anyways, I told them the story before I did the Echinacea tablet, because the tablet will still do the same thing if you chew it, and it'd probably be even more intense. But I said, we're just going to suck on this until we start to feel the numbness. And we timed it. At about 20 seconds, I could feel the numbness. The tingling was starting on my tongue, and it was traveling back to the back of my tongue. And it was starting to go down the throat as I would swallow a bit more. I stayed with the pill for about 1 minute and 45 seconds, and things were going pretty numb by that point, so I go ahead and swallow it. I told my client, I said, okay, so we're going to only suck on this for about like 20, 25 seconds max. I don't want it to go any more because I don't want you to kind of get weirded out. And so she's sucking on it about 15 seconds. She's like, oh yeah, I can totally see the tingling on my tongue. Oh yeah, it's getting more intense. It's almost like it's hot. I said, yes, that's a great way to describe it. And so she went with it for about another 15 seconds, actually 15 seconds longer than I thought she would. And she went ahead and swallowed it. And so we were chatting for about another 3 or 4 minutes. And finally, she felt like it was starting to let go and the feeling was starting to decrease. And I said, yeah, it takes some time. Now, I just did that today. It was probably about an hour ago. And now I can tell you that my tongue and throat feel completely normal. But for the vast majority of us, that's going to be a pretty intense thing that we're a bit worried about. But I'll tell you what, if you want to know if your product works, that's some intense stuff right there. And so what I told her is, I said, you have 400 milligram capsules. These tablets are about 300 milligrams. I said, this bottle is about $30. Your bottle was about $30. But in order to get the same result, I would probably have to take your entire bottle or 3 of your bottles in order to equal 1 tablet in this product. So which one was the better value? Well, I'd have to spend $90 in tablets, or I would have to spend about a little under $1 for 1 tablet. So that's the difference. When you get a company that really makes an herbal product well, it is night and day different. And so to extract everything out of an herb takes time and takes technique and takes know-how. And then to get it into a tablet, to get it stable without ruining it, takes know-how and takes time and takes a lot of energy. So the products that I sell might be a little bit more expensive than the average market product, but they're probably between 10 and 100 times better. So you're going to save yourself money in a long run of doing a product that is effective and that does what it says it's going to do. So that's my little piece on Akinesia, but kind of a fun little product to play with. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
The information on Dr. Troy Munson's podcast is meant to educate the listener and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease.